Galileo, Galileo, Galileo Figaro.
I do,
Magnifico.
however,
Oh,
think I
oh,
should tune you
oh.
down a bit because. Oh, that's better.
I'm just a poor boy. Nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Spare him his life.
Why
Small
are you singing
prophecy.
Bohemian Rhapsody?
Morning, Mrs. Gorilla. Morning, Mrs. Non-Gorilla. Have you been shopping? No. Been shopping. Did you buy anything? A piston engine. What'd you buy that for? Ooh, it was a bargain. Ooh. Mm.
Now I want to start out with a research method which is reasonably easy to use to acquire data. And you can also acquire data in fairly small data sets. What are our readings for today? Well, Holt calls the corpus. Now you can fairly easily get data. You can get data in fairly small amounts, but nevertheless what you get can produce grounds for an analysis pretty quickly. So conversation analysis is a good place to start. Now in today's lecture pods, what I want to do is talk about conversation analysis as ethnomethodology. And I want to talk a little bit about what kinds of research has been done using the close analysis of real-time talk in everyday social situations. We'll also touch upon the possible ethical issues of conversation analysis as a method. And last of all, I want to model for you the nuts and bolts technique that anyone doing conversation analysis needs to master. That is the art of transcribing conversational exchanges from short audio or video sources. Now, this section, that last section of the lecture pod, will therefore prepare you more specifically for your first go at a portfolio task for the unit. Okay, so let's start with ethnomethodology. Now, what does that mean? There's a couple of clues in the word itself. Ethno means people. So, it means people's method, people's methods, how social interaction creates and maintains for people an ongoing sense of reality in a situation. Now, ethnomethodology has an epistemology. It has a stand on what constitutes knowledge, a philosophy of knowledge, if you like. And that basically is that it's important to understand how commonsensical everyday thought shapes how people act, and that it is also possible for a researcher to know this by observing people's actions and people's speech as they occur, and that examining such things is a means to get access, direct or indirect, to the social world from the respondent's point of view. These are basically the knowledge claims of ethnomethodology and of conversation analysis as an ethnomethodological research method. Now, just as all research methods and the questions that they seek to answer have epistemological foundations, that is, they take a position on what constitutes knowledge, they also have a basis in an understanding of the nature of being in the world. That is to say, they have an ontology. Now, remember ontology? Well, the ontological position of conversation analysis is constructionist. It's bedded in a belief that social phenomena and their meanings are constantly being accomplished by social actors. More specifically, according to the focus of conversation analysis on conversation as collaborative action, conversation analysis sees social constructs as being talked in and talked out of being by interactors. Now I just want to pause over that bit of method jargon, that very ungainly, clumsy, even ugly word, interactant. Sounds like some kind of a dinosaur with a very long beak that one might have found traipsing around the jungles 27,000 million years ago, but no. What it basically means is subjects, that is people, interacting. People interacting and enacting something by an act of collaboration in a social transaction or exchange. Now, it's a revealing word, that, interactant, and it's related, of course, to interaction. The heart of conversation analysis is its attention to examples of social interaction, to patterns of conversation where people take turns, where they respond to cues or fail to respond to cues with conversational tokens. Now, that's a term that's brought up in Holt, and it's brought up in Rapley as well. And a conversational token, to give you an example, is when you're having a conversation with someone and you keep inserting these little or yeah, say when someone's talking to you on the telephone. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, yes, I know I heard that when... yeah. Yeah, I know. It's just that you have... Yeah, but... Yeah. 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 Oh, no, I mean, no. Yeah, no, I mean, no. Yes, of course I was listening. Yeah. Just so long as you keep saying aha in the places where it's expected, where it is the preferred response. If you do that, then you're maintaining a specific kind of recognised exchange. You're keeping up an expected role in a conversation. Say, of being a patient ear to someone who's having a complaint about something, who's getting a worry off their chest. Then in that case, you are, as the ethnomethodologist put it, listening to troubles talk, and it's active listening too. Now, it's when you give what's called a dispreferred response that the conversation risks breaking down and becoming another kind of conversation. Every day, in every way, we are interactants. To give you some more examples of that. Just imagine this has happened to numbers of us in New South Wales. You get bill shock and you call Energy Australia and you talk to someone in the call centre. Both you and the person you're talking to are interactants. The conversation forms around the turns taken and missed in talk. If you go to the supermarket and you hit the checkout with your purchases, even that very banal, purpose-bound, utilitarian conversational exchange is worthy of examination as far as conversation analysis would have it. Even there, at the checkout, you are an interactant. You are producing the social world and its conventions in conversation. Now, funnily enough, when I was preparing this part of the lecture pod, I got an 0800 call, and I don't have one of those readout displays that tells me who's calling, so I dumbly answered it. And it was this guy from the State Emergency Services, and he was asking if I wanted to buy tickets in their charity raffle. Now, the conversation went very much like this, and I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm going to leave you here to read it so you can see actually a little taste of what notations rather simply and not particularly well done might work. Okay, now let's leave the issue of those transcription notations that you can see there, those odd symbols and marks, because we're going to take that up later. But I do just want to bring to your attention some of the key conversational elements that Rapley and Holt note, and that actually happened in this conversation I just had with the dude from the SES. At my end of the conversation, I am refusing the preferred response. I am trying to close down the conversation even before it's begun, and I do that by flat intonations, by falling intonation. When I said, "How are you?" that wasn't at all perkily said. It wasn't a question. It was a begrudging, more kind of, "What the hell do you want?" than a "How are you?" There's also an escalating of dispreferred responses, and that aligns with the conversational analysis work done on patterns of refusal and agreement, and Rapley talks about these. And these patterns of refusal and agreement occur in conversation across a range of settings and circumstances. So when Paul says, hopefully, put them in the post in a month's time, I very swiftly cut in and just close them down. No, call me in a month. I make no attempt to qualify the refusal. Instead, I reaffirm the refusal to buy any raffle tickets or even to have them sent to me on spec. Now, this might be seen as going against what Rapley calls the normative interaction order. It's not the most polite no in the world. There's no mitigation, there's no prefacing to the no, there's no hesitation to my giving it, there's no delay, there's no other kinds of explanations or accounts that might be aiming at softening the no. Now, if both interactants in this conversation, that's me and the guy ringing from the State Emergency Services, if we were in a social situation, if this was social talk between people who are acquainted or intimate, then this would be an unusual negotiation of the refusal and agreement pattern. But as conversation analysis deals with talk in specific situations and settings, we need to bear in mind here that this is a very particular circumstance. This is a cold call. It's unsolicited. It's an unwanted conversation. So while that quick no might in other circumstances be rude and be definitely a dispreferred response, when someone in a call centre calls, for them, it must be far from unexpected that they're going to get that kind of response.